folks, Aldershot here, and today we're going to do an impression on a Gravity Ghost developed by Ivy Games and on sale on Steam at the regular price of $15. So what is Gravity Ghost anyways? Well, if I was to put it in a nutshell, I would kind of describe it as a gravity-based platformer, I guess. It's a little bit interesting actually, the way the mechanics are handled. It's a little bit hard to explain, other than gravity and platforming has things to do with this game. So what we're going to do is actually get into it, so we can talk a little bit more about it. Now usually I talk about the options and special features and all that kind of stuff that the game usually comes with, but in the main menu you can't really access the options. You have to actually get into the game before you get into the settings. Is one of those. And I don't think there's any actual like side features to this game. I believe it is just the main campaign that you'll be getting for your 15 bones. So let's get into it and check that out. We'll continue the game that we already got started, and this is Gravity Ghost, and as you can see, space is kind of a motif with this game, and the whole goal is to go from constellation to constellation, unlocking levels to levels. As you unlock the levels, you'll collect stars, and the more stars you collect, the more levels that you unlock. See, as you can see, it requires 40 stars to unlock this constellation, 50 to unlock this one, 60 to unlock this one, etc, etc. And the whole goal is to make your way into the center area, the black hole. And in the black hole you have all the little story bits that you've unlocked along the way. We'll explore a little bit more about this down the road. I want to get into a level or something and kind of showcase some of the gameplay a little bit better than what I'm doing here. Anyways, before we start, seeing how the options menu is actually in the game, I'll quickly go over that. And when I say quickly, I mean really quickly, because this is pretty much it, guys. We'll go into settings, and all you really get is resolution options, full screen or not, subtitles on or off, etc, etc. So very, very low in the amounts of options and customizations that you'll have with this game, but that's okay. That's okay, because to be honest, I didn't mean to do that. This is a 2D sprite game, and in all honesty, a lot of 2D sprite games generally don't really need a whole lot of graphical options for it to run well, so there is that. We're going to just go into one of the beginning levels so I can introduce this game properly without feeling too hard, and I didn't mean to go into this level actually. Let's go to Break Free, why not? Alright, so this is Gravity Ghost, and right here we are in a planetary system where I guess the planets are really fragile, and with the right velocity you can actually break these planets, and that'll help you gain access to whatever is inside these planetary objects. Now I already done this level, so everything inside of them is already collected. I just kind of want to show you the gameplay a little bit. So as you can see, you know, it does involve a lot with physics and gravity and all that sort of stuff, as you would expect from a game called Gravity Ghost, right? And each one of these planetary objects will have an effect on your trajectory, as would any planetary object in space would as well. And it kind of plays like that. It's sort of like trying to land the Mars rover on, I don't know, an asteroid or Mars or something like that. So if you're into that kind of space stuff, it's kind of, sort of like that-ish. Well, the whole goal really is to collect stars in each level, and as I mentioned before, I already collected them in these levels, so maybe we'll go into a level that we haven't finished. But actually, while we're here, these little flowery bits that you might see, say in that planet, if I can land on it, right here, there we go, that'll extend your hair, right? As you notice, my character, the little girl, the little space girl that I'm playing as, she has quite a, you know, quite a lock of hair, very, very long, and you use that to collect animal spirits in space. I know it sounds a little weird, but that's what you do. And when you collect them, you basically find their dead bodies in another celestial planet, And when you reunite them, you'll unlock story bits and progress through the game. And that's really how the game kind of progressed. Let's see, we're going to just go into a random level here. Now, you can do a few things to kind of manipulate your trajectories, not just jump and float around and hope for the best. You can actually, there's a special move where you can actually turn into a water drop, and you actually become much heavier, attracting you to any solid objects much faster. And you can use that to your advantage to increase your velocity, you know, and all that stuff. Now there's another thing you can do, where when you're kind of gliding, you know, you have some control over your glide, but you want a smoother sort of gliding pattern. There is a glide option, just like that, see? So that should throw you in a more predictable trajectory if you use this option. And, you know, you'll collect new abilities as you play through the game. I don't even think I've collected all the abilities yet. I finished about 2 or 3 of the constellations. I think I'm working on my 4th one. So let's go to that and see what we can do. Now, as you can see, each level is actually quite varied with their own puzzle elements, and that's really going to be the main incentive for you to continue playing through this game, is to kind of see what else this game can throw at you. And I must admit, playing through this game so far, I am actually quite excited to see what each level presents, because I do find the level design quite interesting. They do throw a lot of new kind of puzzle elements, like this one here where you have to rotate the sun to kind of reveal these elements here. And you have to fly into space and grab it before the sun sets, and then things disappear and you have to start over again. So this is kind of a new puzzle element for this constellation that is sort of new to me. And as you can see, you know, I'm still using gravity and velocity and trajectory and all these physics terms to kind of control my character. Now when you collect the stars I have, that should open up a door, which is your exit. Now, in this level here, again, this is a new level to me, so I'm not quite that familiar with it. Oh, there's the door. Okay. I actually have to reveal the door through turning the sun on, I guess. Now, once the door is open, once you stand next to it, you just have to hit the exit button, and there you go. You're on your way to the next stage. And again, this is basically how the game will play out as you progress through the game. Now, as you can see, the graphics are actually done pretty well. It has this almost crayon drawing aesthetic to it. It's almost like a child's drawing, but a very talented child's drawing, if you will. The visuals is quite whimsical, quite, you know, storybook, to put it lightly. And hopefully I have the volume set up loud enough so you can hear it, because the sound effects and the music is actually done very, very, very well. It's I believe the soundtrack is done by, what's his name, Ben Prout, I believe, and he was the original composer of FTL, which was a very, very popular space indie game in itself. And that kind of explains why the soundtrack is so wonderful. It's actually one of my favorite elements of this game. I adore the soundtrack of this game. The visuals are nice too. It's very, very well done. It keeps to its motif, and well, it's just very, very nice. It's very pleasant. It's easy on the eyes. It's something that you can relax to. I mean, Gravity Ghost probably isn't going to be you know, one of those games that you're going to be playing for hours and hours and hours on, and figuring out all the meta and trying to min-max this game and all that kind of stuff. This is definitely not going to be one of those kind of games. This is a little bit more casual, and in fact, I believe the developer did mention to me that one of the goals of this game is to help try to get other people who might not be as into video games more interested into video games, which I think is a good goal, you know, obviously, because I love video games, and hopefully you guys love video games, and I honestly just want more people to like the video games. So, you know, that mission statement certainly is an honorable one for sure in my eyes. So, you know, the hardcore gamers, I guess you can call them the hardcore gamers, it might not completely interest you all the same, but for those who is interested in something a little bit more pleasant, something a little bit easier going, I am actually enjoying my time with Gravity Ghost, I must say. It's been pretty enjoyable for the most part. Again, it isn't going to be a game that I'll be, you know, sinking hundreds and hundreds of hours into all the same, but as a little break from those games that I sink hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours into, it certainly is pleasant and I do enjoy it. Alright. Now the game actually features a bit of a narrative as well. Oh, actually, we're going to rescue this creature here. I believe I have the spirit. I just have to find his corpse, which is over there. Okay, I got the star. That's good. There we go. Here's a little example of some of the cutscenes and narrative of this game. Because when you rescue a spirit animal, you get a little piece of the narrative. Alright, let's get out of this. I believe once we get out of this level, that's when we can get that cutscene that we're looking for. Here we go. Oh, there you go, guys. That was kind of nice. Usually the cutscenes have some words, there's people talking. Voice acting is actually done pretty well, I must say. Although, I'll be completely honest, as far as the story goes, I like that the developers is trying to tell something emotional, something that has a little bit of depth and characteristic to it, and all that kind of good stuff. Personally, though, I find the story a little bit heavy-handed. It really is trying to force emotions out of the player in certain instances, but that might be just me. That's a very subjective thing. But that's just my opinion. It's nice that the developer has put the time into a narrative at all, because games like this is generally very, very arcadey, and oftentimes, you know, there's actually not a lot of narrative to kind of dig through in more arcadey style games like this. So if you're into, I guess you can call it sappy storylines, you might actually like what Gravity Ghost is trying to say in its story. I just feel a little bit heavy-handed. I feel it's trying maybe a little bit too hard to draw emotion out of the player, but again, that might be just me, right? Now, do you know the story is actually a little bit sad, okay? A little bit of a spoiler there for you. It's a little bit sad. It's not all joy, happies, and smiles, but it does tell a very interesting story with some pretty thoughtful characters in it, so I can say that much for it at the very least. But there you go. So Gravity Ghost, you know, it's a game. It's an indie game about platforming, as you can see, with gravity. Gravity definitely being the main focus as far as the puzzle elements is concerned. It certainly looks pretty, you know. It has that storybook pastel kind of look to it, which I do like. And it definitely keeps to its theming very, very well, and the music is absolutely fantastic. Probably my favorite part of this game. As far as the gameplay goes, you know, it's pretty relaxing. It's pretty, I guess some people would call it casual, but I personally don't mind that too much. So it's not really going to be for, you know, the World of Warcraft player, obviously. But again, for those who are more into lighthearted games, Gravity Ghost certainly is a quality product. That much I can definitely say. Even though it might not be exactly for you, you might know somebody who's more into these sorts of games. And again, one of the main mission statements of Gravity Ghost, according to the developer, is to help other people who might not be into games maybe get into video games. So again, that's a valiant mission statement, right? So it's a funny little romp. It's a fun little romp, and I think what the game tries to do, it does very, very well. It just might not appeal to every single person out there, but for those who it does appeal to, I think you'll find a lot of enjoyment out of Gravity Ghost. Well, that's about it, folks. Hopefully you folks found this informative, or at the very least enjoyable. And if you did, show me some love. Like, share, fave, subscribe, all that kind of crazy stuff YouTubers tell you to do. And comments, let me know what you think of this game. Let me know if it interests you, if maybe you know somebody else who might be interested in this game as well. Let me know if you think this game will get those people who otherwise wouldn't play video games into video games. And that's about it, guys. So thanks for watching. Alder shout outs.